On Christmas night in Sokoto State, Nigeria, a deep and expectant silence hung over the land, as families gathered in their homes and churches for celebration. Suddenly, that peace was shattered. The night sky erupted with the thunderous roar of American Tomahawk cruise missiles, streaking from a U.S. Navy vessel stationed in the distant waters of the Gulf of Guinea. The world watched as the missiles arced toward their targets, signaling a new phase in the region's conflict. The targets were clear: two suspected ISIS camps, believed to be strongholds for militants who had been terrorizing local communities for months. These camps, hidden deep in the remote bush, had long evaded local security forces. This strike marked a dramatic escalation, America's first direct military action in northwest Nigeria, personally ordered by President Trump after weeks of tense deliberation with his advisors. The decision sent shockwaves through diplomatic circles. The timing was no accident. The White House framed the attack as a direct response to the ongoing persecution of Christians in the region, making a powerful global statement on one of Christianity's holiest days. The symbolism was unmistakable. For many Nigerians, the intervention brought a complex mix of hope and anxiety. Relief for some who saw it as overdue support, but also fear among others that it could spark deeper conflict or retaliation from militants. On that Christmas night, the United States didn't just strike at militants, it signaled the opening of a new front in its global military posture, reshaping the balance of power in West Africa and sending a message that would echo far beyond Nigeria's borders. The Christmas strikes were a dramatic escalation, targeting two ISIS-linked camps in Sokoto, a region in northern Nigeria that has seen a surge in extremist violence in recent years. These camps were believed to be central hubs for planning and launching attacks against local communities, particularly targeting Christian populations during the holiday season. The operation was confirmed by U.S. Africa Command, which stated it was carried out under a direct presidential directive. This level of authorization underscored the gravity with which the U.S. government viewed the threat and the urgency to act decisively. Tomahawk missiles were specifically chosen for their precision and long-range capabilities, allowing the U.S. to strike with minimal risk to civilians. Their use sent a powerful message about the seriousness and technological sophistication of the operation. President Trump quickly took to social media, declaring the strikes a direct response to what he called the vicious killing of innocent Christians. He warned that if the violence continued, the U.S. would not hesitate to launch further attacks, making it clear that American patience had run out. This was not just a single act of retaliation, it was a promise of sustained action. The administration tied U.S. military involvement directly to the safety and security of Nigeria's Christian population, signaling a new era of American engagement in the region. The move marked a sharp shift from years of diplomatic pressure to direct military intervention. It also fulfilled Trump's earlier threats and recent visa restrictions on those implicated in religious violence, showing a willingness to back words with action. The Christmas airstrikes were the explosive culmination of months of escalating warnings, setting a new precedent for U.S. engagement in Nigeria and raising the stakes for all parties involved. America's message was unmistakable: further violence would be met with overwhelming force, and the world was now watching how both sides would respond. In the aftermath, both U.S. and Nigerian officials emphasized the operation was a joint effort, not a unilateral move. U.S. Africa Command and Nigeria's Foreign Ministry highlighted intelligence sharing and coordination, presenting a united front. For Nigeria, this partnership brought American firepower to bear on its security crisis, while maintaining a sense of sovereignty. Trump administration officials publicly thanked Nigeria, reinforcing the narrative of cooperation. This alliance, forged under fire, allowed both governments to claim victory, America as protector, Nigeria as a willing partner. The coordinated response marked a rare diplomatic achievement amid previous tensions. The airstrikes came after a year of relentless violence, over 12,000 killed by armed groups in Nigeria in 2025. Attacks on Christian communities, like the massacre at Christ Apostolic Church and the mass abduction at St. Mary's School, fueled Washington's intervention. But the violence is widespread. Muslims too are frequent targets, as seen in the Christmas Eve mosque bombing in Maiduguri. Nigeria faces a multifaceted insurgency: jihadists, criminal gangs and bandits all contribute to the chaos. The government's inability to restore order set the stage for foreign intervention. While attacks on Christians provided the immediate justification, the collapse of security was the deeper reason for U.S. action. The strikes were a response to a nation on the brink. The U.S. framed the crisis as ISIS targeting Christians, focusing on religious persecution as the main narrative for American audiences and policymakers. But Nigeria's conflict is far more complex, shaped by a tangled history of social, political, and economic challenges that go well beyond religion. The country's religious and ethnic mix has fueled disputes over land, identity, and belonging, often pitting communities against each other. Water and resources are flashpoints too, as climate change and population growth strain what little is available, making daily life a struggle for many. In the northeast, Boko Haram and ISIS West Africa wage a brutal insurgency, terrorizing villages and displacing thousands. In the northwest, criminal bandits dominate, often motivated by profit, kidnapping for ransom and raiding communities. Some bandits have loose ties to jihadists, blurring the lines between ideology and crime. But most violence is driven by local grievances, old feuds, competition for land, and cycles of revenge that spiral out of control. Nigerian officials warn that reducing the crisis to religion risks inflaming tensions, oversimplifying the reality, and fueling further division. It also means missing root causes like poverty, youth unemployment, and governance failures that leave millions feeling abandoned. For U.S. planners, the challenge is navigating a landscape where criminal, ethnic, and religious conflicts overlap, making solutions elusive and risks high. A misstep could deepen the crisis, worsening suffering for ordinary Nigerians and destabilizing the region. And it could entangle America in a conflict it barely understands, with consequences that reach far beyond Nigeria's borders. The Nigeria strikes signal a new Trump doctrine: direct visible intervention to protect specific American interests and values, especially persecuted Christians. This marks a shift from past U.S. policies of nation-building to targeted, forceful action. Supporters hail the strikes as moral clarity. Critics warn of long-term instability and the risk of endless entanglement. The president's vow of more strikes if violence continues sets a dangerous precedent, tying U.S. action to the unpredictable behavior of armed groups. The world watches. Will militants be deterred, or will U.S. intervention fuel further conflict? The answer will determine if this was a singular act or the start of a new American war in Africa. Nigeria's future, and America's role in it, hangs in the balance.